Good morning, Whizz kids. Remember last week I told you about myself, Nathaniel, in this story, remember? And my four friends. There was, let's see, there was Jacob, there was James, and there was Samuel, and our friend who was paralysed, Isaac. Now one day we were out walking and we heard this man, Jesus, and Samuel, who, if you remember, was the spiritual one. And he said, this man's good, we're going to listen to him. And, well, we listened and we had a discussion about it. And we said, okay, this man's good. Well, what can he do for Isaac? Well, Samuel jumped straight on. He says, well, I've heard he actually heals people as well. And I thought, well, if we can get Isaac somehow on a stretcher and carry him to where Jesus is, maybe she'll come and lay hands on him. So we arranged with Isaac and his parents that we would pick him up the next day and we would try and get him to Jesus. We did that. We made a stretcher out of wood and old blankets and what have you, and we carried him. But when we got to where Jesus was, we had a problem. You see, he was so popular that the place was actually packed. Well, you couldn't get anywhere near him. I mean, people were pushing and shoving and trying to get into the house where he was. And then one of the guys, James I think, said, well, why don't we climb up onto the top and lower him down? I said, hey, hang on a bit. That means we've got to rip the ceiling, the roof, to get through. Yeah, so it can easily be repaired, he said. All right, and so we managed to get him up there. So we started clawing at the dust and the mud and the wood that made the ceiling. And we managed to find a hole big enough to drop him through. So we had some rope and we lowered him down. People were going mad by then. The house owner especially was screaming, what are you doing with my ceiling? And Jesus was looking up and he looked at us and he had that look in his eyes, so he understood what we were doing. Anyway, there was Isaac on the floor in front of Jesus. And Jesus again looked at us, looked at Isaac, looked at us, and he said, my son, your sins are forgiven. Well, that place is erupted. All the Pharisees and the religious people there were screaming, only God can forgive sins. And Jesus has stopped. And he looked around and he said, which is easier, to forgive sins or to say to this man, pick up your bed and walk? Well, people, I don't know. And Jesus just looked down and he said, I say to you, pick up your bed and go home. Oh, Isaac started shivering, he started shaking, but then all of a sudden he stood up, very shaky, and he said, pick up your mat and go home. Well, we were ecstatic. I mean, come on, you must think this is pretty good. Well, not only did he pick up his mat and come home with us, but then we started telling everybody. Now you see, that's the whole point of this. When Jesus does something that makes us better, inside or outside, whether it's our heart, our spirit, or our body. We do what's naturally. We tell people. Come on, Whizz kids. You know when Jesus has done something good for you. Well, go and tell somebody. It'll be better for you. And who knows, they might actually join you here in church. Thanks. I hope to tell you another story some other time. Bye.